In this video, I'm going to show you another way to animate using the video timeline in Photoshop. We have looked at the images are drawn onto the layers here, and they're somewhat static. What we've done is applied keyframes to them down in the video timeline. What we're going to do in this tutorial is work what's called a video layer. And this is particularly good for drawing and animating drawings. I am going to create a video layer, and I'm going to move this out a bit. And this is kind of our first layer that's coming from a layer panel. The next thing we're going to do is come up to layers and find video layers. And here we can add video to this timeline, or we can add a new blank video layer. We're going to add a new blank video layer because we're going to be drawing on it. So once it appears, it's a different color. And this indicates that this is a video layer. And you can tell by this little film strip here in the corner here. So in the video layer, you can use your arrow keys to scroll through the timeline and the frame counter up here. For some reason, it doesn't really work when you're just working with layers. So you can practice this if you just look at get right, and it'll go one frame per click, and then go back with the backspace arrow key. I'm going to make sure I'm on my layer 1, which is my purple layer, because I'm not going to animate this. I'm only going to, I want it to be stationary. I'm going to make my brush a little larger. You can come up here and pick a different kind of brush if you want, like a more of a chisel brush or a drawing brush. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is come into my flyout menu and set my timeline frame rate. I already have it set, but I'm going to set it to 10 seconds just to get going. So, okay. So what we're going to do is just create a quick bouncy ball example, and we're going to use what's called the onion skins. In the flyout menu, you can find this. It says enable onion skins. When an onion skins actually, it will enable Photoshop to show whatever you have drawn the frame before and then the frame after. So I'm going to enable onion skins, and then I'm going to come under onion skin settings, and I can set being able to see 1 or 2 frames before or after. I like to see 2 frames, and so I'm going to make it. Just click on your layer that is your video layer. If you're here and you start drawing here, which I just did, it's going to appear on your static layer, your purple layer, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to draw on that layer for right now. We want to animate on layer 1, which is the blue layer. I'm going to make sure this is enabled and my onion skin settings are set at 2 and 2. And then I'm going to just use my arrow key to go to the next frame. So I can click my arrow and it automatically goes to frame 1. So you can see from 0 to frame 1. And my circle, poorly drawn circle, has turned to more of like a 50%. So this is part of the onion skinning kind of process or technique. So I'm going to draw these pretty close. Come in and draw another circle, and then click my arrow key to move forward. And because I set the onion framing preferences for 2 frames, I now have like a 50% and a 75%. So this is telling me where my last drawing is. If I don't have that here, if I just go to the next frame, 2 frames, I won't know where to go or where my drawing is. So I really need to have onion skins on to kind of give me a roadmap of what I'm doing. Do this pretty quickly, so my little circles are going to be pretty bad, but then when I get here, I'm going to kind of make it squashed. Okay, so I haven't done a lot here. I've probably gone up to like 1 second. So have 5 seconds here. I'm going to grab both of these and move the duration of this back a bit. Okay, so it's showing me the onion skin. It's showing me the onion skin. I don't really want to see that now. I'm going to turn it off so I can view this, and then I'm going to loop it. So I'm doing all my animating on one video layer. And this is super fantastic. You don't have to do like 10 or 20 or 30 layers here. So it just makes the drawing process much easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add some color to this little bouncy ball. And so I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to come under here under video layers and add another new blank layer. So I'm going to call this color, and I'm going to call this bouncy ball. I'm going to call this horizon line. So I actually move this underneath. You know that the color's kind of underneath the black circle. So you can see when I move that underneath, the actual video layer moves to where it is in this layer panel. So I'm gonna bring this up a bit, and I'm gonna pick another color, this time maybe something like a nice pink. And I'm going to start by clicking on the layer that I want to work on here, and get my brush, make it a little bigger by clicking on the bracket, and I'm gonna fill this in. Kind of want it to be kind of drawn looking. Okay. If I go over, I can do Command. It's not even a Command E. It's just E, which brings me to my eraser, and I can erase that. So now I'm going to use my arrow key and then just move it to the next frame, which does not have any color in it yet. So I'm going to bring my playback very beginning, and then I'm going to see how. So I have 3 layers here in my timeline. One is kind of a static layer, and 2 video layers, which allow me to animate frame by frame by frame. So that's kind of the beginning of working with onion skinning and the video layer in the video timeline.